Hello everybody, exeter-rider here. Today I'm back at Bridge Motorcycles, and today I'm riding the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE. Okay, getting on the bike is easy enough, it's not too bad. It looks higher than what it actually is. I think it's probably because of the good ground clearance that you get with this bike. Pegs are at a nice height. Right, it's a keyless ride, so I've got the fob in my pocket. It's all ready to go. I don't need to push any of that. Right, so my first impressions of this Triumph is, first of all, the seat is nice and wide. It's not too well padded, but it doesn't feel like it's going to give me any issues. The pegs are at an acceptable height. I have a 30-inch inseam, and my legs are about 90 degrees, I would say. The handlebars are at quite a nice height. There's no sort of I'm not reaching to get to them. If it was ever so capable, I probably already said that, but got the typical 1200 Triumph HT engine, high torque engine, which they pull really well. If you've never had a go on one of these, and they've got their own distinctive characteristics. Everything feels really solid, very stable. It's a bike that you have to sort of pull into the corners, probably due to the large wheels. And that will come into its own on rougher terrain. There's no rim protection. It's all hitting me on the top of my chest and on my helmet. So on the clocks we have the rev counter, speedometer, gear indicator, fuel, which I'm probably going to need some of that in a minute, I think. Time. Power is on demand. Hang on, thank you. Power is on demand whenever you want it, and it'll probably pull right up to sort of, well, easy get to 100, no problem. Don't need any more than that on the road anyway, do you? So the suspension is tight. It's quite sort of stiff, really, but that kind of suits this type of bike, doesn't it? So that's what you'd expect, really. Okay, so I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and we're at 4,000, which is just right. But you certainly get a sense of that big wheel at the front. You can certainly feel that. Obviously, I'll put all the stats up at the end, like I normally do. I won't go too deep into that, because you just want to know what it rides like at the moment, don't you? Certainly it's a bike you could munch a lot of miles up on. I don't think you get fatigued. Let's say, I think you might want to stretch your legs at a certain point, because they are a bit higher than, the pegs are a little bit higher than what I kind of normally would like. Still alright there. The mirrors are okay, and I guess it suits the retro style, but they're too small, I think. I prefer them to be a bit bigger. I met a chap at Bridge Motorcycles called Dave May, and he's going around, well, I think he's going around the world, I think, but on the Scrambler launch night, which I think was around March, April time, I met him there, and I remember him saying that he's thinking of getting a Triumph Scrambler to do that. He's been around Europe before on a Honda Cub, I think, so it's certainly going to make it much easier going around on this one. But yeah, he's bought one of these, and I can see why. He's quite a tall chap as well, so I mean, when I put my feet down on this, let's just pull over here. When I put my feet down, I am tiptoe. You feel in control. It's not, you don't feel like it's going to get too heavy one side or the other. Yeah, I'm 5'8" and I've got a 30-inch inseam. The throws on the gears are very short actually. You don't have to push it very far up or down to get in, and you know that you're in. There's no sort of hesitation. You know that exactly that you're going to be in. Low speed manoeuvring is quite good. You do feel the weight is on top. I'm sure many could do it a lot more skillfully than I just done it there, but okay. So the brakes, we've got a twin disc on the front, and it works very, very well. Got plenty of bite, and the rear is even better actually. It's probably one of the best rear brakes I've tried actually ever. Okay, so let's start here with the right handlebar. First of all, I want to show you that there isn't much of a reach on the handlebars there. That's quite nicely placed. They are adjustable as well. And we have the kill switch and the on switch and start button. Hazards on here. And that's the right bar pretty much done. It's quite basic, that side really. Nothing to write home about. It is keyless ignition, so once I put the kill switch into the on position, the dash will fire up. So I have the fob in my pocket obviously. Let's zoom in a bit more on that one. Alright, so on there we have the fuel gauge, gear indicator, the miles per gallon, and the range that's left. I've got 26 miles, that's good. I was a bit worried about that just now because I saw the old fuel light on, so that should be fine there. The rev counter is on the left hand side. Got all the other information on the right hand side, riding modes. At the moment I believe I'm on the road setting or the sport, one of the two. Then on the other side we have the heated grips, remembering that this is the XE model. The clutch, which is nice and light. It's a typical Triumph slipper clutch. It's very easy to operate, and also easy to pull back, so it'll be good in heavy traffic. Got the flasher there, high beam, low beam, and then you've got all the switches for the riding modes and etc. The indicator, like I say, as you can see, it's not much of a push it needs at all to get into place. But like I say, it's not the sort that you push into, to indicate. It just tends to just operate a switch internally, a micro switch, and tends to turn itself left or right. That's your joystick there to get through the modes, and the horn on the bottom. Very nice looking bike, I'm sure you'll agree. The suspension, as I say, is quite tight. It's not the sort that will be too forgiving over bumps, but it's where it should be for being a scrambler type of bike, and it certainly gives you a good feel of confidence. You always know what the bike is doing, and when it's going over bumps and things like that, you know exactly where you are with it. There's no wallowiness in it at all. It's got that lovely chunky exhaust. A heck of a lot of details gone into that. You certainly won't need an aftermarket exhaust on this one. It sounds really good. Nice chunky chain and pillion comfort. We've got the rubber pegs here. I would imagine it's quite good fun on the back actually. Obviously being a 1200, it's not going to have any problem carrying a pillion. There's going to be plenty of power for that. There's a hand grip on the back for them, and also that's going to help moving it around obviously. The back brake and the foot pegs are nice and chunky. Very easy and very natural position on the back brake to reach. It's if I put my foot on it, there's no sort of tippy down feel to it. They work very well. They're very strong brakes. you're not going to be wanting more or better brakes, and even when in the wet or whatever, they're going to be very good. Obviously it's got ABS as well. You can turn the ABS off on this bike, only on the back if you want to do so. Got the braided lines to the brakes as well, that all helps. And good old Brembos, you can't go wrong with Brembos, can you? So we've got LED lights all around as well, including the headlight. I can't tell you what it's like at night, obviously, because it's not night time. But I'd imagine it's going to be pretty good. This is the XE spec, so I'm not sure. I think these might be an extra, or maybe it does come with the XE. It's a very nice looking bike, very, very strong. Like I say, you'll take a bit of brake in this bike if you when you're chucking it around the off-road stuff. You can sort of do it and know it's going to, even if you drop it, it's you kind of feel it's going to be all right. Very, very, very well built. So being a Triumph, it's very true to its retro feel. It's trying to keep the old school sort of finish and build into it, right down to this sort of fuel injection area. They try and make it look like carbs, the old-fashioned carbs, but it obviously is fuel injected. And this spark plug cover cap here as well, that's classic Triumph styly, that, isn't it? Right, let's get back on and have another ride. I certainly feel this is a heavy bike. It's embarrassing, I can't even get it up. Right. Hoop. Yeah, so I struggled to get that one, get the bike off the stand then. It is on a slight hill here, so don't let that put you off, but it's a long way up then. It's certainly a very fun machine. Sort of chuck around these sort of lanes and explore the nice countryside. Munch a lot of miles on it and have a lot of fun. And with the way that the seat is, you know, the height of the seat, pegs and all that, it gives you a lot of fun. It's got quite a lot of fun factor. Makes you just want to have a good old blast. Right, let's just pull over here and we'll just do a quick 0 to 60 down here. There you go. Second gear. For exploring, this is absolutely fantastic. And if you're going on a long tour, you know, across Europe and you know, all those rocky places, Kazakhstan, Morocco, etc., then this is certainly a bike to consider. There's a Holden Belvedere there. That's where I got married. And also where my grandmother lived in the 1930s for 10 years. Don't know if you can see that through the trees there. Yeah, she lived there for 10 years. She hated it. There's no water, no electric, and she had to walk into Exeter every day to get to school. Anyway, that's family history over and done with. I'm not going to bore you with that. So who's this bike going to suit? As I'm stuck behind this van. It's going to suit taller riders, Triumph boys, Triumph enthusiasts. Is it a good first bike? Oh yeah, I think any bike is a good first big bike. You know, if you just pass your test, I don't think you can go far wrong unless you're sort of down the sports bike territory. Yeah, so people who like to have a lot of fun and like I say, touring rides. I think you can, no doubt, Triumph do a lot of accessories. Get some bags on the back and whatever else. Very well suited to, as I say, going over to the rocky countries and going up the mountains. Whatever needs doing there, it will handle no problem, no doubt. One of the things I did forget to mention actually is the way that the springs are set up in the traditional style. You know, with the two springs on the back each side of the rear wheel. I quite like that because obviously normally you get the mono shock, don't you, which all the mud flicks up onto, and even if you've got a good decent guard, you tend to find that the shock does tend to get covered, where there's a lot to be said for having back to basics rear swing arm with the twin springs at the back. Quite like that. But the downside to that, of course, is that it is you do feel the bumps a lot more. They've done a good job, you know. You don't feel it too bad, and it does make it more part of the experience to have that. You know, the suspension a little bit rougher, shall we say? But it's not designed to be, you know, it's designed to be a retro fun bike. And Triumph have certainly hit the nail on the head with that. Okay, so I better go into the things I don't like so much about the Triumph's 1200 Scrambler. All these things are in no order, and they're just gripes. They're not deal breakers by any means. So first one is the mirrors could be a bit bigger. I don't like the keyless ride. I never have liked the keyless rides, you know, whether it's on this bike or any of the other brands. That fob, I just feel that fob is going to get lost. I've only known of one person who's owned a keyless ride bike and lost it, and it cost them nearly 300 quid, I think it was, to get that sorted out. So no, I'm not a lover of that. I like to put the keys in and start the thing. I don't want all this, you know, keyless stuff. But that's just me. And that is my gripes, really. I mean, for me, I guess I would want the suspension a little bit softer, but that's my personal choice. I think this setup would suit a lot of people. Nice to get out on a Triumph again now. Last time I went out on the Triumph was the T120, I think I had last year. Like I say, it's quite a nice bike. The engine is, let's say, I think it's the same engine in this one. It behaves the same. Yeah, very much the same. It's just literally it all feels the same to me. It's just the chassis and things like that, which is a little bit different, really. Yeah, very nice bike. Exhaust sounds great. Triumph are great at that sort of thing, aren't they? Getting exhaust sounds right. Yeah, overall thought so. It's a very good bike. Typical Triumph, very solid. Got a lot going for it. If you like the retro style bikes and fancy a Scrambler, then this is going to be right up your street. As I say, if you're a taller rider, he's been on my observations before, I recognise him. If you're a taller rider, then it's going to be up your street as well. So, yeah, many tick boxes, really. Okay, folks, so I'm going to make my way back now. I just want to say thank you very much to Bridge Motorcycles for lending me the bike. Do like and subscribe. I've also got a Facebook page which I'm trying to build up a bit more momentum on. Just search for exeter-rider and it should pop up, and drop me a like. But yeah, like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, cheers.